So this is the all-new Redmi Note 12, and from spending the last couple of days with this device, I can definitely say that this could be a flagship killer. Let's take a look. So this is the Redmi Note 12, and this device really excites me because it has all the features of all these high-end expensive flagship devices at a fraction of the price, making it really accessible for the average user. Plus it provides you with exactly what you need and leaves out all the fluff that only a few people use that actually drive up the price. And if you feel like you weren't getting enough value, they also threw in a complimentary case as well as a 33-watt charger. And this may not sound like anything amazing, but if you take a look at all these more expensive smartphones, those are things that you have to buy extra on top of the premium you already paid for your device. So the one I have here is the Redmi Note 12 in Onyx Gray, and for me this is a really clean color, but they also are available in Ice Blue and Mint Green, but personally I prefer the Onyx Gray or the Mint Green. The Redmi Note 12 is also surprisingly lightweight for its size and fairly comfortable to hold, but I can definitely see the sharper corners being a drawback for some people. In terms of design though, I have to say I like the sleek design that I've gone for. The matte finish of the color looks really good, and I also like that it wraps around the side, giving you a more uniform and complete look. The lenses on the back are enclosed in this rectangle that protrudes out a bit, and then the two main lenses also stick out just a little bit more, and overall it looks clean, so not a bad design at all. There are two things, however, that I'm not a major fan of, and the first thing is the front camera. It has the silver ring on the inside, so it isn't as well hidden as I would have loved it to be. And then secondly is the height of the screen. So I would have loved the display to be flush with the sides of the phone. That way it is a little bit more safe, especially when you drop this device, but that only means that you'll definitely want to keep this one in a case at all times. So on paper, the Redmi Note 12 has got some really good cameras. So firstly, you have your 50 megapixel camera, then below that you have an 8 megapixel ultra wide camera, and then to the right of that you have a 2 megapixel macro camera, which isn't something that you see a lot on devices. Usually you get a telephoto lens, but on this one you get a macro lens, so if you like taking macro photography, then this could be a really good option for you. Then if you flip the device over, you have a 13 megapixel front camera, which can be used for anything from video calls to vlogging. But let's actually see how these cameras perform to see if they're actually as good as they sound on paper. Now, taking pictures with the Redmi Note 12 is pretty much the same as with any other device. All you need to do is go into settings while in the app to change the settings you want, and then just snap those pictures or videos that you want. Now, in terms of quality, the 50 megapixel photos look good. They do provide some good detail as well as all the other modes, but these are also not the best quality photos that I've seen from a smartphone, but they should be more than enough for the general social media posts that you may do, and for the average person just looking to take pictures of themselves or their pets or their kids or whatever else they may want to take pictures of. Now, the image quality does take quite a big hit, especially when you start zooming in to take photos, which can pose a bit of a problem, especially for people looking to take up close pictures of something while still maintaining quite a distance from that subject. But for the price that you're paying, the device does still perform really well. And then Redmi also added a Pro mode where you can change some of the settings like your ISO and shutter speed to give you some control over how your images look, which is a great feature to have in any device, especially if you want to take mobile photography a little bit more seriously. Now, one thing I liked about all the pictures that I took with the Redmi Note 12 is that none of them looked oversaturated or over-sharpened, which may sound weird, but if you take a look at higher-end smartphones, usually they tend to over-sharpen and oversaturate images to make them look better, but in the end they actually make the images look worse because the colors are either way off or the image just looks digitally sharpened, which is never a good look. And then when it comes to video, there isn't really anything too exciting about that. You can select between 1080p 30 frames per second or 720p 30 frames per second on both the rear and the front camera, and once you switch to macro lens, you can only film in 720p. The video quality is good. It's not the best that I've seen on a smartphone as well, but for the general person, it should be more than enough. And taking into account, once again, the amount of money that you're paying for this device, it is actually fairly good. Then if we take a peek under the hood, this is where things get a little interesting as well. So the Redmi Note 12 comes in 3 different variants, with the RAM being the biggest difference. So you can either get it in 4 gig variant, 6 gig variant, or 8 gig variant, where all of them have 128 gigabytes of storage. Now, if you need more storage, no need to fear. You can add up to 1 terabyte of external storage thanks to the micro SD card slot that can be found in the dual SIM card tray. The Redmi Note 12 is also powered by the Snapdragon 685 chip that from all my testing seems really good for the general person and is even good enough for playing some games with. So if you need a good device for gaming, then this could also be a great option for you. But if you just need a device that can work and is responsive, then the Redmi Note 12 will be perfect for that. Now moving on to the display of the Redmi Note 12 is a 6.67-inch Full HD Plus AMOLED dot display with a wide DCI-P3 color gamut and even has the option to switch to 120Hz, making this device feel extremely responsive, but also makes it great for mobile gaming as well. You also have the option to switch it over to 60Hz if you'd rather have more battery life compared to a smoother experience, but for me, honestly, the 120Hz is a good trade. Now when it comes to the battery of the Redmi Note 12, it does come equipped with a 5000 mAh battery, which they claim should last for 31 hours of calling, 21 hours of video playback, and even 9 hours of gaming. And even though those numbers are promising for people looking for a device that they only need to charge once a day, they've also included the 33-watt fast charger as well, which should be more than enough to get you back into the action super fast on those days where you may just need to top up a little bit. Now from testing the device over the last couple of days, I can say that the battery doesn't drain extremely fast, and from general day-to-day use, it should be more than enough for you to just charge your device either in the morning or in the evening and not have to charge your device again for another 24 hours. But that of course is dependent on how and for what you use your device. But for those of you who are more heavy users, at least you do have the fast charging. Now the question is this device perfect? And no, it is not. Well, for the price, maybe. There are a few things on the Redmi Note 12 that I didn't like, so let's start with them and then we end off with the positives. So as mentioned in the beginning, I'm not a big fan that the screen isn't flush with the sides of the phone. It does, however, make the device more comfortable to use as you don't have a sharp corner sticking into your thumb when you're sort of scrolling over the screen. But for me, it just stresses me out, especially if you don't have a cover on. But once again, this is something that you can easily fix if you just keep your phone in a cover. But if you're someone that doesn't like to have your phone in a cover, then this could be a problem for you. Next is the fact that the bezels aren't all even all around the screen, but that for me is a little bit more of a personal taste. I like it when displays have either a uniform thickness all around the display, or at least if they do have an offset at the bottom, just to have that same offset at the top as well. Whereas with this one, it's slightly moved up, so you have the same thickness on the sides and the top, but a thicker one at the bottom. These are both really minor issues, but issues that bother me nonetheless. Now for the positives, and there's actually quite a few, and number one has to be the addition of the headphone jack, and this isn't because I like headphone jacks personally, but rather because so many other people like headphone jacks. Now from previous smartphone videos that I've made and seen, this is quite a big pain point for some people, so having the headphone jack is a really good plus for some people out there. Secondly is the expandable storage, and that's a great touch as it doesn't force you to actually go out and buy cloud storage, and you can just simply go out and buy a micro SD card to place into your device when your internal storage begins to run full. And then number three has to be the price. This device costs a fraction of the price of most higher end smartphones, but still comes equipped with most of the features those devices have anyway. You really do get a lot of value for your money with the Redmi Note 12, and for a lot of people out there, the general users, this device will be more than enough. For me, this device isn't for the person looking to show off to all of their friends about all the features and all the gimmicks that their smartphone has. This device isn't even for the person looking for the best smartphone out there. The Redmi Note 12 is for the person looking for a flagship device without all of the features that nobody actually uses at a fraction of the price, or for someone who's just looking for a device that runs smoothly, can take some really good pictures and videos, and looks good as well. The Redmi Note 12 really strikes that balance between affordability and performance. It gives you everything you need and everything everybody really wants from their device, but makes it more accessible for the general public, because let's face it, not everybody has thousands to actually spend on a flagship device. Marques Brownlee said it best, and he said, cheap smartphones are getting good. And with the Redmi Note 12, that is definitely the case. Cheap smartphones are definitely getting good. And that is it for today's video. Until next time, cheers.